Teacher, am I audible?
Yes, തുടങ്ങിക്കോ.
കുറച്ചുകൂടെ ക്ലിയർ.
കാണാവോ ടീച്ചർ?
കാണാം. വോയിസ് കുറച്ചുകൂടെ വേണേ.
Good evening, one and all. First of all, thank you all for finding time in visiting today's webinar. Let me introduce myself. My name is Chandana, and I'm a first-year BSc Physics student of this institution. As you all know, the Central Library of Christian College, Katakada is organizing this workshop on the topic, Read and Grow, Let's Celebrate Digital Reading, as part of the Reading Week observance in the living memory of Dr. P.N. Panikkar sir. And we are much blessed to have the two great speakers with us today. As you all know, it's an era of changes. So COVID-19 pandemic paved the way for the spread of digital reading. So it's the perfect time to discuss about the role of technology in our education and parts. So yes, let's enjoy the digital reading. First of all, it's time for the prayer, and I invite Navya of First DC Zoology for the prayer song.
Like a sunflower that follows every movement of the sun, so I turn towards you to follow you, my God. In simplicity, charity I follow. In simplicity, charity I follow. Like a sunflower that follows every movement of the sun, so I turn towards you to follow you, my God. In simplicity, honesty I follow. Like a sunflower that follows every movement of the sun, so I turn towards you to follow you, my God.
Thank you, Navya. Now let's switch on to Dr. Subhana ma'am. She's the coordinator of this workshop and also the librarian of Central Library. And I welcome her for the welcome speech.
Good evening to all of you. I'm Subhana Ellis, working as librarian of our college. And we all know that Christian College is a prestigious institution which provide various kinds of courses in arts and science discipline. And Central Library is a very good library with more than 35,000 books and more than 30,000 e-journals, and also having ICT facilities. As we all know, various kinds of activities are being done these 2 weeks in memory of P.N. Panikkar. He is the father of library movement in Kerala, who promoted education to all with uniform literacy throughout Kerala. And our Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, in honor of P.N. Panikkar, has declared June 19 as the reading day, and also the month after that as the reading month. So various kinds of activities are being conducted in our college throughout our club activities. Yesterday we have conducted a debate based on digital reading and printed reading with the help of debate club students. We all know that various kinds of reading activities, either in the digital platform or in the printed media, is going on. Earlier days, there is scarcity of books to carry to our homes or to get the reading materials. Now it has changed to another platform, the digital media, and government has been taking this digital initiative so as to extend reading for students amidst this pandemic situation. So the reading process is going on, but there is a small difference is that in the digital media, we use information for our research or education purpose, like skimming of milk. Skimmed information we are taking from digital media. And for getting better enjoyment, we are preferring the printed material or the paper format. So I welcome all of you to this program. We are conducting this program as a closing program for the library week. Today, we have arranged a workshop. Read and Grow is the title of the program. And welcome all of you to this program. This program is going to be inaugurated by our principal, Vincent Joy sir, in the absence of our manager. He was not able to come to this program. Our principal, Vincent Joy sir, is taking full initiative in various kinds of activities of our college. I welcome Principal Vincent Joy sir to this program. The two chief guests of today's program are Dr. Helen Agnes Amunga. She is the lecturer of University of Nairobi. Nairobi is the capital of Kenya. She is working as the ambassador of World Literacy Foundation and also the vice representative of ICIE, which means International Center for Information Studies. This International Center for Information Studies and World Literary Foundation is both they are non-profit organization and they are working for providing literacy throughout the world. And she is especially taking care of all such activities in the African region. And I welcome Dr. Helen Agnes Amunga to our program. The next topic, digital reading, is lectured by another eminent personality from Library and Information Science field, Dr. Joseph I. Thomas. He is the postdoctoral fellow from Department of Library and Information Science, University of Kerala. He is going to express or share many kinds of digital resources that are available these days for your reading. I welcome Dr. Joseph I. Thomas to this program. All kinds of literary activities in our college is handled by Dr. Pratibha, who is the HOD of Malayalam department, and she has taken all initiatives for organizing these kinds of programs. I welcome Dr. Pratibha teacher to this program.
Thank you.
Dr. Shalini SV is the Staff Council Secretary of our college. She is also engaged in all kinds of support activities to our staff and students. And she is also going to join this program. I welcome her to this program. Many students of our college who are actively participating in various kinds of club activities are joining this meeting. And on behalf of Central Library, I welcome all the students, teachers, and other non-teaching staff of our college. Many other participants, especially from library science field students, are also joining the program. On behalf of Central Library, I welcome on and all to this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Suguna ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Let's now welcome the man who doesn't need any introduction and known among all of us for his wisdom and his knowledge, our Honorable Principal, Dr. N.S. Vincent Joy sir, for delivering the presidential and the inaugural address and to grace the occasion with his words. Welcome, sir.
Dr. Suguna, like Chief Librarian of our college, the resource persons of the day, Dr. Helen and Dr. Joseph I. Thomas, Dr. Pratibha, the Chief and Head of the Department of Malayalam, and other dear participants. In connection with the Reading Week, our college has conducted a series of programs. In connection with that, the library department and the Central Library is also organizing a debate and a workshop, especially resource persons from outside India and even outside the continent also participating. So we are very gladly welcome, ma'am. And in the name of our college, we also welcome Dr. Helen to this webinar. I personally congratulate for your acceptance of our invitation. Then online reading is the topic of today's discussion. It is the process of extracting meaning from a text that is in a digital format, also called digital reading. Most researchers agree that the experience of reading online, whether it is on PC or on mobile device, is fundamentally different from the experience of reading print materials. Print is visually less demanding than digital text. It provides spatial and tactile cues to help readers process words on a page. The message for readers of all ages is clear. Reading medium matters. Adult readers need to be more critically aware of the choice and reading strategies they use with the different reading media available to them. Young readers need to be provided with high quality print and digital books and optimal ways for their use. In the present context, especially the whole world is affected by the COVID scenario, concerns ways for supporting children's book reading, digital literacy, and exploiting the role of personalization in early years. There is reading matters a great deal. To be able to read is to be able to fully participate in the modern society and to lead a meaningful life. Teaching children to read and make them enjoy books is the primary goal of our early childhood education. As we are living in a digital world, now it is especially the younger generation is not showing much enthusiasm or having the habit of reading textbooks or newspapers because they always possess this digital device with them. It is in this context, our webinar will definitely be a boost to our younger generation and the participants to have developed the habit of reading, whether it may be a print media or a online media. I wish all success to this webinar and I congratulate the organizers and participants and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now I welcome Dr. Pratibha ma'am, HOD of Malayalam department and also the coordinator of Literary Club to felicitate the gathering. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Respected chief guests, other dignitaries who present here today, and my dear students, a warm good evening to one and all. It is my privilege to be here before this gathering to felicitate the webinar. Thank you, dear coordinator Sugna ma'am. I think this is a good opportunity to hear such a good personalities. Our reading observance program will be ended today. So our chief guests are very apt for this webinar series. I'm sure it will be very useful sessions to our students. Let me conclude by wishing that each one of you will carry back from here some wonderful ideas and thoughts. All the best for the webinar. Thank you.
രണ്ട് പെൺകുട്ടികളാ താഴെ രണ്ട് പെൺകുട്ടികളാ ഒപ്പിടാൻ വേണ്ടി നോക്കൂ.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. The most awaited moment is here. I consider it as my great privilege to invite Dr. Helen Agnes Emunga, Department of Library and Information Science, University of Nairobi. She is the Vice Representative of IZIE African Chapter and also serves as the World Literary Foundation Ambassador. I invite you with all respect to take lecture on the topic, Importance of Reading. Welcome, ma'am.
Ma'am, you are muted.
Thank you. Thank you. Technology. Digital reading. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be here today. Let me take this opportunity to thank the organizers of this webinar, Reverend Crystal, Dr. Vincent, Dr. Pratibha, and my former classmates, Dr. Suguna, and then I'm also glad to meet Dr. Joseph Thomas. Ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed, I wish to start by thanking the organizers of this forum for actually giving me the opportunity to be a part of this day. Special gratitude to Dr. Suguna. She's kept me thinking of how to fix this day and be here with you, and I really appreciate your consideration. And as we celebrate this day, we need to always think about, where the pandemic has taken us. Before, we always talked about, books. We always wanted to have books, but now things have changed, and we are moving towards deeper into digital reading, and with that also comes the issue of media and information literacy. We should never forget that now we need to be able to read the books as we know them, print books and other resources, but we also need skills to be able to mute and unmute when it's necessary. So thank you so much, and I'm going to share my presentation. Okay. Am I sharing? Kindly confirm.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So basically, reading, writing, and being able to perform basic arithmetic from an early age are empowering skills. They lead us to become information literate and lifelong learners. They also help us to contribute to our ability to make informed choices about our lives. Reading is therefore essential for every human being. So for every human being, it means from childhood, from children to adults, all of us need to engage in reading. That we should not just read because we are in school, we should not read to pass exams, but we should keep on reading so that we become lifelong learners. And then because of IT innovations, we are now needed to have more skills, more than just the normal reading and writing. And so media and information literacy skills and competencies enable us to effectively participate in digital reading and related activities. So we are supposed to be able to use different media because information is now coming in play from different formats. So if we just read books alone, print books the way we know them, you may not really be able to participate effectively in what we do in the knowledge economy. And the library has a big role to play in developing reading culture among communities. I'm glad that Dr. Suguna talked about what the Central Library is able to provide. And I do hope that the community at the Christian College is able to use those resources. But even as we speak about reading, and it's important, the World Literacy Foundation report gives us some statistics that there are 770 million people globally who are illiterate and 2 billion who struggle to read a sentence. So this has a profound impact on their lives, job opportunities, self-esteem, and well-being. And we've also seen that these numbers keep on going up because the divide is there. You can only read digitally if you have the resources. You need a digital device. You need internet connectivity most of the time, and even space. You also need space. You need electricity and the space. So basically, if you do not have all those things, then it means it will be very hard for you to be able to read. The importance of reading can easily be tied to the importance of the library, but basically we read so that we can acquire basic reading and writing skills, which grow as we keep reading. Within these skills, we also have to be able to do some basic arithmetic. Otherwise, you'll not be able to do very basic things like just buying something from the shops. You have to know, whether the change that you've been given is the right change or someone is trying to steal from you. We read so that we can be informed. We need to know what is happening in our area. We need to know what is happening in the world because we are living in a global village. So we read to be informed about what is going on around us and beyond. We also read to just be educated. We have academic purposes. For example, if you're a student, you need to read so that you can be able to perform well in your examinations. And definitely there is a difference between a student who reads and that one who doesn't read so much. As a teacher, I would always know when a student is struggling to do an examination, then I know this one is not reading a lot. You give an assignment, you should be able to see the quality of the work that comes out from the person who reads, which is different from the person who doesn't read a lot. We also just read to get enlightened. We need to know, just to get some information about just general things. For example, I love agriculture. And when I was living in India, I discovered that the people of Kerala love planting flowers. They plant a lot of flowers in their compounds. So when I came back home, I keep on reading about flowers every other day, especially during this pandemic time. And I keep on buying some small, flowers and trees, and I just keep on planting. So because I do that a lot, digitally, Google, the Google, what do we call it? The Google feed, news feed, keeps on giving me information about flowers, for example. I keep on getting news feed about India, just because I keep on Googling about plants and their names and India and what have you. So we just need to be enlightened about what's happening around us also. And we also need to read so that we can be able to appreciate our own culture and our cultural diversity. I know India is a subcontinent, and you have varied cultures. You celebrate so many holidays, and so you need to be able to appreciate your own culture as a community and the culture of other communities or religions. So when you read a lot, you'll be able to understand why certain communities do certain things. When you read a lot, even as you appreciate, you can also question certain cultures that may be, for example, hampering your growth as a person. And I would like to use the example of women in the society. We know that some cultures, even here in Africa, are not favoring us as women. Take, for example, female genital mutilation. Another example would be early marriages. Some girls marry so early. So some of them are not able to continue going school. Like Tanzania, for example, just our neighbor here. And there, the girls who get pregnant for some time, they were not allowed to go back to school. But in Kenya, when a girl gets pregnant, she'll give birth, and we allow them to go back to school. So some of them will be giving birth while they even give birth, they are allowed to go back to school. So the culture and even the political atmosphere and the laws need to be appreciated so that we also advocate for change when it's necessary. But the most important thing is that let us keep reading, because books take us to other cultures. When you read a book that was maybe published by an American, if I read a book that was published by an Indian, I'm Kenyan, but I'll have to appreciate the Indian culture because it's reflected in what is written in their literature. And then we also need to read so that we can be able to develop critical thinking skills. And these are very, very important to us. And I highlighted in red because I'll expound on that one alone and not the rest. And then we also need to read so that we can achieve some socioeconomic development for ourselves and for our community. We know that there is a direct relationship between education or higher education and employment, or even higher education and standards of living. So people who go to school and get good jobs out of going to school lead a better life. And when you have a better life, then you are able to take care of yourself and also take care of the community and society at large. So we need to keep on reading. So I picked on critical thinking skills. I thought this would be very, very important for this particular forum because this is an academic community. And so when we read widely, it helps us to develop critical thinking. And when we are critical thinkers, we are able to do the following. We are able to analyze information. So we don't just read. We have to analyze and see whether that information is relevant to us or not. We evaluate. We are able to know whether it's authoritative, whether it's authentic. And these two skills are very important now that we are in the era of misinformation and fake news. You need to be able to read something and discern or be able to tell whether that's the right information that you should be reading, whether it's actually making sense to what you are doing, if it's an assignment, so that you don't just write anything. So you analyze information, you evaluate information, you should be able to synthesize information. You sieve through and pick only what is the best. And when you pick what is the best, you also be able to add on your own, your own voice to what we are writing about. You should be able to infer, what has been written and what should be. Making informed decisions about our academic work is also another reason why we should keep on reading, so that you decide, okay, I'm reading this book. Why am I reading it? Is it for leisure? And is it improving my language? Because for you to be a good academic, you need to use good language when you are writing. Then you get good grades. And then you decide that, okay, am I going to be a teacher? Am I going to be a librarian? Career decisions and what have you. So you make informed decisions, including about our own academic work. And then we become lifelong learners. When you're a lifelong learner, you don't stop reading because you graduated. You continue reading. You continue reading to your children, to your family members. You encourage them to read so that they can also be lifelong learners. When you're a lifelong learner, you keep on reading, you keep on learning, and you keep on, dropping things that may be of no use to humanity. You may keep on, advocating for best practice in what you are doing, and etc. We also need to keep on reading for community service, because when you read, you get the job. You read, you can volunteer, then you develop yourself, and then you contribute to the immediate community and society at large. And you do that in various sectors of the economy. You could be a politician, but when you are not reading, you may be a politician, yes, but you may not contribute so much, because we know that reading opens up our mind. I have a model there, which I borrowed, and I think I'll share this presentation for your later reference, because the writings are very small. I didn't want to split it into two. But however, we are just trying to condense together the reasons why we read and the reasons why we need to be critical thinkers. And so when you are a reader, you always ask yourself about, who benefits from what you are doing. It could be anything that you are doing. So for example, you've been given an assignment as a student and you decide that you're not going to do it. If you're a critical thinker, you will first of all ask yourself, who is going to benefit? Whether I do this assignment or not. In most cases, when you're a student, you are the first beneficiary. As a teacher, I'll benefit, yes, because my satisfaction comes from my students doing well. So you ask yourself certain questions, the who, what, where, when, why, and how. That is the 5 W's and 1 H. And then what? So you can ask yourself, what is the other alternative to what I'm reading? You've gone to the library, you got a book, the lecturer says that, use, if you're doing a term paper or any other assignment, use books that are not older than 10 years. But you are not maybe a good information seeker, so you go get a book, yes, maybe you Google, but as you Google, you have to always remember that what is provided in the library is much better than what you're going to get just on natural, normal Google. So you Google, yes, you get that article, but you have to ask yourself, is there another alternative to what I'm reading now? Okay, what else can I read? And we know that information resources complement each other. So what you get in a book, you could also get it in any other digital format. So that's just an example of a question that you could ask yourself when you're a critical thinker. And once you ask that question, then you are going to get another alternative to what you have. You may be reading a book and you realize that it has fake information, or you're reading a newspaper and you find that somebody is not giving the right information. So then you should be able to identify something that is alternative to that, and etc. And then where? So for example, we can pick a question like, is there there is a need for this? So is this where, or will we see this in the real world? You could be talking about anything, just anything. Is there, will this be a problem? So where the where question, where do we need to improve? For example, you are working on something. It could be you are in an office, you are working, and then you are also a student, or maybe you are married and you are also a student. So you have to keep on asking yourself, where do I need to improve? Because maybe there's some conflict at your place of work just because of your family issues. So you need to critically think and ask yourself, where do I need to improve? What should I do to be able to improve? So that is one critical thinking question that you could also just ask yourself. And then when? So you could ask yourself, when is this acceptable or unacceptable? You could decide now, this now touches, for example, on ethics. So your morals, what are you doing? And is it acceptable right now? Or was it just acceptable a long time ago? So it could be a cultural issue. It could be a tradition. It could be things to do with cultures that pull women down, or even men sometimes. So then you have to ask yourself, is this acceptable or is it unacceptable? If it's acceptable, well and good. If it's unacceptable, you feel that, this is just too much, then you have to look for ways of rectifying it. I lived in India for years, and I know that sometimes the Indian community struggles with the issue of rape, for instance. So you may be a critical thinker from whichever sector, and you decide you want to push for that cause that discourages rape. So you could be a community within a community of advocates, and you decide and say, no, this is just enough is enough. And so you come up maybe with an initiative within your community that discourages that particular behavior because you frequently thought about it and you know that it's harming the people around you. And then why? So you have to ask yourself, is this a problem or a challenge? Again, depending on what you are working on, is this really a problem or a challenge? If it's a challenge or a problem, then we must always read to find solutions. I'll take an example of a classroom situation where you've been given a project to work on, and you ask yourself, so what is the problem? We know how to go about writing the statement of the problem. Sometimes it's a challenge to our students, but you have to keep on reading. And as you read, you have to also try and find out whether there's someone who can help you. So if it's a challenge for you, so then you should ask yourself, should people know about this? Should my lecturer know that I'm struggling to do a statement of the problem, for instance? Okay, you could be having a problem at home. Are you able to open up and ask somebody else whether they have gone through the same problem and what help they are willing maybe to offer you? So the why. If it is a problem, then definitely we can always keep on reading, keep on consulting other people, and then we get a solution to it. And then the how question. So how are we going to achieve what you want to achieve? Okay, how is it beneficial? What I'm doing, is it beneficial to any other person? So you are at school, you are a student, how is it beneficial to you? Or is it even going to benefit another person? So when you are a student, maybe you do not yet have a family, but you plan to have a family in future. So then the benefit of your education will be yourself, first of all, and then your parents, definitely, and your children, and your spouse. So those are some of the queries that you keep on asking yourself, and then you can get answers to them, and then you become a better critical thinker. Conclusion, reading leads us to have a competitive advantage and opens up many opportunities. You know, the opportunities could be academic, where you are looking for a scholarship. For example, I got a scholarship in India. And if I told you how I came to know about India, I knew about India when I was still a young girl. You know, actually, before I even went to school, my grandmother came from the lakeside region. We have a lake in Kenya called Lake Victoria. It's a freshwater lake, and we find a lot of tilapia fish in that lake and other species, but tilapia is the most prominent. And so growing up those days in rural Kenya, we didn't have plastic bags. The younger generation here would wonder. There's a time when we never had plastic bags. And so all the foodstuffs and other resources were always wrapped in a newspaper or in a brown paper. So one of our shopkeepers who used to sell fish to us always wrapped their things in a newspaper. So whenever I was sent to buy fish, I would buy, come back home, and then hide under the table. My grandmother had a huge table, dining table, and it always had a tablecloth long. So whenever I sat down there, no one would know that I was under that table. So I would go bring the fish, take it to the kitchen, and then get the newspaper cutting, if I may call it, and then go and hide under the table and then read. Just look at it. So I did that for so many years. I think maybe for 2-3 years, and then my elder brother and sister discovered what I used to do. So they taught me how to read, you know, from ABCD, you know, the alphabet, then 1, 2, 3, and then from there I started reading. So as long as I continued reading, I always saw this word India. And as I grew up, when I went to school, and then later on I could even buy newspapers, I always read about India. So when I got an opportunity to come and study in India, I was not surprised. I did the interview and I just passed. The questions were about India. I'd read about India since childhood. So opportunities open up when we keep on reading. Employment opportunities also just keep on opening up because we are reading. And when you go for an interview, you'll be comfortable talking about what you've been reading about because you read. When you are a lecturer or you are a librarian, you are able to serve people much better because you read. And so your mind is open. Reading even, you know, makes you even to be humble most of the time, if you are not a braggart. We also get opportunities when we volunteer. Like, for example, Dr. Sobuna mentioned that I'm a World Literacy Foundation ambassador. This is the second year that I'm doing that work. And I volunteer. I have a library in my house. And I just give to my community. My community is a community of 300 people and closed. And so the children will come here, I sit with them, we read. When they are not able to read, you know, sometimes they do not have the confidence, then I sing, I can sing. So I teach them how to just sing a very simple song. And then through that, each one of us, you know, we distribute responsibilities. You sing this part, I sing that part. And within a week or two, they are able to now stand before people, read the books, and even now, you know, narrate briefly what they read about and come up with moral lessons. That's what I do in my free time. So we can volunteer because we are reading and people will always notice what you are doing. Educational and social success leads to high standards of living for self and dependence. I think I've already mentioned that when we go to school and when you are able to read and read to our children, we open up so many ways for them, including leading a high standards of living. Reading opens up global opportunities in which appreciation of cultural diversity is key. I mentioned that I lived in India and I learned a lot about the Indian culture, and I was able to fit in and made friends. I have so many friends right now, like my reading, my volunteer work that I'm doing. I have 2 schools in Pune. And just because someone checked on my website and saw that, you know, I have on my profile rather, and so that I was in India before. And so he called me one day and we talked and we were like, oh, we can do this together. So my children here, once I've taught them how to read and blah, I'm able to do an international exchange program because I appreciate the Indian culture. If there is something else that I really carried from India was the use of spices. Before, I never used to use spices in my food, but now my kitchen is full of spices. And I've come to really appreciate spices because of the health benefits. So it is out of reading and appreciating the Indian culture that I've been able to appreciate that. And so today we are talking about digital reading. And so you cannot be a digital reader if you are not a media and information literate person. Okay, you need to be media and information literate. We are now moving away from just being information literate. You need to know how to access information from different media platforms. So you can read the print newspaper. You should also be able to read the e-newspaper. You should be able to access social media networks like Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn and etc. And then you mix that with the information literacy, being able to know when you need information for what purpose, being able to evaluate and use it within ethical means. Then you can be able to say, okay, now I'm media and information literate. Then now you can be able to participate in the global economy. Then you become a lifelong learner. And from there, we keep learning and unlearning the cultures and taboos and what have you as appropriate. So with all that, I want to say thank you so much. I've given you some further reading materials just to open up your mind. And I hope that I've been of benefit to you. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was very informative and an eye-opening one. Actually, we want to thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's time for the next session now. I'm so happy and proud to welcome Dr. Joseph T. Thomas, sir, who's a postdoctoral fellow in Department of Library and Information Science, to take lecture on the topic Digital Reading for UG or PG. Welcome, sir. Yes, sir. Good. Yes, sir.
Dr. Joseph, I think full screen will be better so that all of us can read what you're presenting. Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, slide share ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടോ? അത് ക്ലിയർ അല്ല. ഫസ്റ്റ് സ്ലൈഡ് തന്നെയാണ് ഇപ്പോഴും ഉള്ളത്. ഇപ്പൊ കാണാം. ഇല്ല, സ്റ്റാർട്ടിംഗ് ഒന്നും
ഇല്ല.
കിട്ടിയില്ല. ഫസ്റ്റ് പേജ് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നുള്ളൂ. അല്ലല്ല സാർ, ഞാൻ മെസ്സേജ് ഇട്ടിരുന്നു, അപ്പൊ സാർ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവില്ല. താങ്ക് യു സർ.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, okay.
I know. I cannot. It's okay. It's okay. Just go on. Thank you.
ജോസഫ്, നമുക്ക് ആ ഇലക്ട്രോണിക് മീഡിയ എടുക്കുന്നതൊന്ന് നോക്കാമോ എങ്ങനെയാന്നുള്ളത്? ആ, ഓക്കെ. അതൊന്ന് അതൊന്ന് ഡെമോ കാണിച്ചു കൊടുക്കുവോ? ഡെമോ ആയിട്ട് കാണിച്ചു കൊടുക്കുവോ ആ ബുക്സ് എടുക്കുന്ന എങ്ങനെയാന്നുള്ളത്? ഒരെണ്ണം സെലക്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് കാണിച്ചു കൊടുത്താ ഒരെണ്ണം. നോ നോ, കിട്ടില്ല.
അത് കുഴപ്പമില്ല സൂണ, പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതി, അവർക്ക് ക്ലിയർ ആവും.
സ്ക്രീൻ ഷെയർ ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും.
ആ, കണ്ടിന്യൂ ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരെണ്ണം കാണിച്ചാലും മതി. ആ ആ ശരി ശരി. ആ കണ്ടിന്യൂ ചെയ്താൽ മതി.
Yes, sir.
No.
And sir.
It's okay, sir.
It's okay, sir. ഞങ്ങൾ നോക്കാം.
സാർ സാർ ഈ ലൈബ്രറികളിലെ APUPA പാറ്റേൺ ഉപയോഗിച്ചല്ലേ ക്രമീകരിച്ചിരിക്കണേ? എന്താ സാർ?
ഹലോ
ആ സാർ. അപ്പൊ സാർ അപ്പൊ ഈ ബുക്ക് സൈറ്റിലും അപ്പൂപ്പ പാറ്റേൺ അനുസരിച്ചാണ് ക്രമീകരിച്ചിരിക്കണേ? ആ സാർ,
അതെ, അതെ.
ഡോക്ടർ സാർ രംഗനാഥൻ.
അതെ.
ഓക്കെ സാർ. ആ സാർ.
Okay, continue. എടുത്ത് കാണിച്ചു കൊടുക്കും. അത് ഒരെണ്ണം എങ്ങനെയാണ് കണ്ടിന്യൂ ചെയ്യും. ഇല്ല, ഇപ്പം ഈ ബുക്ക് സൈറ്റ്സ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സ്ലൈഡാണ് കിടക്കുന്നത്. അതെ. മതി. ഓക്കെ. 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 ആ മെസ്സേജസ് എടുത്ത് നോക്കിയാൽ മതിയല്ലോ, അതിൽ കാണുമല്ലോ. അതെ, ഇവിടെ സ്റ്റുഡൻസിന് കാണാൻ പറ്റുമായിരിക്കും. സൈഡിൽ ഒരു മെസ്സേജിന്റെ ഓപ്ഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. അതിൽ ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴത്തേക്കും അറിയാൻ പറ്റും ഇൻ കോൾ മെസ്സേജസ്. നമുക്ക് ബുക്സിന്റെ ആർട്ടിക്കിളിന്റെ ഒരെണ്ണം കാണിച്ച് നമുക്ക് വൈൻഡപ്പ് ചെയ്യാം. സ്റ്റുഡൻസിന് എന്തെങ്കിലും സംശയം ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ചോദിച്ചോളണേ ഇതിന്റെ ഇടയ്ക്ക്. നമുക്ക് തീസിസിന്റെ ഒരു ഡെമോ ഒന്ന് കാണിച്ചു തരാം. പറ്റുന്നുണ്ട്. ഓക്കെ, കാണാം. ആ, കാണാം. ഓക്കെ, കണ്ടിന്യൂ. കാണിച്ചു കൊടുത്താലേ മനസ്സിലാവുള്ളൂ അവർക്ക്. ഇതിൽ ക്ലിക്ക് ചെയ്താൽ മതി. അതെ,
ആ
അതെ.
കാണാം സർ.
ഇല്ല, ഇല്ല.
ഇല്ല സർ.
കാണാം, കാണാം. ഇല്ല, പറഞ്ഞോ ജോസഫേ, പറഞ്ഞോ. അല്ല, അതെടുക്കണ്ട. ജസ്റ്റ് ഒരു വേർഡ് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് വേർഡ് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് അതിൽ സെർച്ച് കൊടുത്താൽ മതി. അതില് വേർഡ്. അതെ, അതെ. അതെ, അതെ. നാനോ ടെക്നോളജി കൊടുത്തോളൂ. അതിലൊരെണ്ണം സെലക്ട് ചെയ്ത് കാണിച്ചു കൊടുത്താൽ മതി. ഇപ്പൊ തീസിസ് എങ്ങനെയാണ് കൊടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത് അറിയാൻ പറ്റും. Okay. Ah. Ah. ഉം. ഒരു ചാപ്റ്റർ എടുത്ത് കാണിച്ചു കൊടുക്കുക, അല്ല അപ്പോൾ അവർക്ക് കാണാൻ പറ്റും അതിലുള്ള ചാപ്റ്റർ, ഇതിലുള്ള മതി മതി, ഇതിലുള്ളത് മതി, ഇതിൽ കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ആ ചാപ്റ്റർ 1, ചാപ്റ്റർ 2, ചാപ്റ്റർ 3 ഒന്ന് മതി മതി, അത് ഓപ്പൺ ചെയ്ത് കാണാം. ഓക്കെ. നമുക്ക് ജേണൽ ആർട്ടിക്കിളിൻ്റെതും കൂടെ ഒന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് വൈൻഡ് അപ്പ് ചെയ്യാം. ഇതുപോലെ അതിലൊരു ആർട്ടിക്കിൾ എടുത്ത് കാണിച്ച് ഇതുപോലെ കാണിച്ചിട്ട് നമുക്ക് വൈൻഡ് അപ്പ് ചെയ്യാം. ഇല്ല ഇല്ല,